the test, observations are one of the most important thing you wanna do. The first thing is that if you missed more than 2 observations, it's a fail in the test. So it doesn't matter how well you do during the test. If you miss more than 2, it's a fail. So what are observations? Observations includes everything: checking your mirrors, doing your shoulder checks, doing your head checks, doing observations to the back before reversing, scanning the road. However, all observations are not marked in the test. There are specific 3 observations are marked in the test. So the first one is shoulder checks. That's are also called blind spot checks. Second one is the head checks. Head checks are just looking up and down the road. I'll explain further. And the third one is looking back in the window before reversing and while reversing. So the first one is the shoulder check or the blind spot check. So the shoulder check is not looking, turning your head and looking back in the window, because back you can see from your rear mirror and sides you can see from the side mirrors. However, there is some part on the side of the road that you can't see in the mirror. Here, I will explain it further. As you can see that this is, I'm stopped here, and if I look in the side mirror, okay, and I can see fairly enough on the road. However, if I turn a bit more, you see the white car, where the white car is parked, and that's the front of the white car. So that I can't see in the mirror. So in case when I'm about to pull out on the road, and if I don't check my right and that white car is coming towards me, I wouldn't able to see. Or if there was a driveway there and if the car is coming from there, I wouldn't able to see. So that's why we do a shoulder check. So do the shoulder check, you need to take your chin to your shoulder. If I turn my head a little bit, I can see that car. But the standard of is that you take your chin to your shoulder. If you turn it halfway, it's not going to get marked in the test. So make sure when you're doing shoulder checks, you do your shoulder checks in the right way. You're required to do the shoulder checks when you change a lane to the left or change a lane to the right. This is the perfect example of lane change demonstrated by routine checks, mirrors, indicator, shoulder check, and then steer the car to the left lane. She uses the MIS technique. Another time you're required to do a shoulder check when you're crossing a bicycle lane to take a turn or just crossing a bicycle lane. So bicycle lanes usually are always on the left side of the road. So if you're taking a left turn and there was a bicycle lane, you need to do a left shoulder check and then turn. After turning left, solid white lines on left side where there is a space for a bicycle to fit are considered bicycle lanes. So anytime you cross the bicycle lane to take the left turn or position your car close to the left, you need to do the left shoulder check as demonstrated by Yasmin in this video. Another time a shoulder check is marked when you are moving on a single lane, but the lane is wide enough that when you diverge to the right side of the road, there is enough space for a car to fit on your right side. As you can notice here there are 2 lanes, but eventually these 2 lanes are going to become one, and I need to diverge to the right side because of the parked cars, and I need to do a shoulder check before diverging to the right. Second example of diverging to the right is I end up behind the parked car. I did my right shoulder check and then moved out. Or if you diverge to the left and there is enough space for a car to fit on your left side of the road, you need a shoulder check before taking the turn. After the bus, you will notice that there is an empty space on the left side of the road and we were taking a left turn, and before diverging to the left, we need a left shoulder check because there is an empty space for a car to fit. Next one, we do shoulder checks. If there is an illegal parked car on the road, a double parked car, and you need to go around it for any reason, you need to do shoulder checks while coming out and coming back in. In this scenario, the car ahead is illegally parked, and if it is not going to move soon, you need to overtake it. However, you need to check mirrors, indicator, and shoulder check while moving out. and repeat miss technique, that is mirrors, indicator, shoulder check while coming back in. Now I'm going to focus on when the shoulder checks are not marked. So whenever you're close to the curb and taking the left turn, shoulder checks are not marked. Notice that shoulder check is required here to cross the bicycle lane, but no shoulder check is required to take the left turn, as there is not enough space for a car to fit on the left side, and also there is no bicycle lane on the left. Another example would be here. As you can see that at this point there is not enough space for a car to fit on the left side, and also there is no bicycle lane on the left. So here, while taking the turn, Ruby doesn't need to do a shoulder check. Shoulder checks are not marked if you're taking the right turn and you're already close to the center. In this scenario here, as you can see that the white lines on the road, it means that our car position is already close to the center. While taking the right turn here, you don't need a shoulder check. On all roundabouts, roughly, there are no shoulder checks marked unless there is a bicycle lane and you're trying to turn left. Now let's talk about head checks. So head checks are not same as shoulder checks. Head checks are just turning your nose to the left and right. Mainly head checks are marked when you're the first car at the traffic light and it turned green, you're about to go, you need to look up and down the road, like up and down, left and right on the road, and then move. So this is an observation a lot of people miss. Whenever they are first at the traffic light, doesn't matter what's the situation. If there is only one road on the right, two roads on the left, does not matter. If you are the first car at the traffic light, you need to look up and down the road and go. You only need to look once and you can look just quickly and good to go. Head checks are also marked in a 3-point turn. You need to look up and down the road. However, in detail, I'll explain it in a 3-point turn video. So a reverse observation is marked every time. Doesn't matter what kind of reverse you're doing, in a 3-point turn, in a reverse parallel park, or just because of some hazard you need to reverse, you need to look back in the window. So this is how you do. You put it in reverse, handbrake down. You can put, at this time, you can put one hand on the steering, and whenever you're ready to move, so before moving, you look back in the window. And before that, if you want to make sure that there's nothing, you can look in the cameras, you can look in the mirrors. These are not marked, but you can look in camera and mirrors. And once you're ready to move, you look back in the window and start moving your car. Once your car is moved, then you can look wherever you want, wherever you think is important. But before moving and while moving, you should look back in the window. A common mistake people make in observation to the back while reversing is that they would look back in the window, and when they're about to move, they would start looking at front and then move their car like this. And that's where you're gonna get an observation error for not looking at the back while you're moving back. So another mistake could be that they would move their car first and then look in the back. And that's where you're again gonna get an error for not looking back in the window when your car started moving back. So the right way would be you turn your head first and then move your car. So once your car is started moving, then you are free to look anywhere you want, wherever you think it's important to look. But before your car moves, your head should be looking back.